The explorer stood at the edge of the dead ship and felt very small. The ancient vessel hung in space like a dark mountain. No sound, no motion, only a cold skin of metal that seemed older than memory. He breathed slow, watching the many alien teams float around it in careful lines, their lights moving like insects on a sleeping beast. "Do not touch the seams," an officer from the insect-eyed Trisk warned his crew. "They bite." And a tall, scaled captain from the VAR hissed back, "Nothing bites, it is dead." They were all wrong in their own way. Because the ship was not dead, it was waiting. The human knew this without proof. He had a feeling, a soft pull like a thread on the back of his mind. He had felt it since their shuttle first saw the curve of the hull. He kept his helmet radio open and said, "I want to try a voice test," and the Trisk officer snapped, "Denied, we follow the sequence." But the human pilot on his private channel whispered, "Make it quick." The human drifted closer to the black metal and saw his reflection, small and tired, a face from a blue world far away. He remembered the briefings, the long arguments, the warnings that this might be a weapon from a vanished age, or a tomb, or a trap. None of that mattered now because the pull grew stronger. He placed one gloved hand near a seam and did not touch it. "Hello," he said, simple and soft. "Can you hear me?" Nothing moved. No light answered. The alien crews laughed over open comms, a thin, dry laugh that carried disrespect. "The mammal thinks it can talk to stone," someone said. The human swallowed, lifted his eyes to the starfield, and said again, clearer, "I am here." A tremor came through the hull, gentle like a breath under ice. Then a line of pale light slid along the seam. Every lamp and scanner around the ship blinked and died. Alien curses filled the channel. The Trisk officer shouted, "Lock down! Lock down!" The human felt his heart kick and said, not sure why, "I am listening." The light answered him with more light. It ran in circles, drew slow shapes, and then small symbols rose on the surface like dew. Alien teams pushed closer with cameras and readers. Their devices showed nothing. The symbols were only light, not heat, not matter, nothing to measure. "Say nothing," the VAR captain growled. "Back away." But the human heard another sound under the noise of fear, a voice like wind on a string, thin but real. "Caller," it said, inside his helmet alone. He turned his head quickly. "Who are you?" he asked, the voice said. "The vessel holds memory, the voice unlocks, the not voice breaks." He was not sure what that meant, so he tried to speak as if to a child. "We come in peace," he said. The voice whispered. "The many came, the many failed. The vessel slept, the caller arrives." The alien leaders cut across the channel. "Human report," the Trisk demanded. He answered honestly, "It is speaking in my head." A long silence followed, then hard orders. "Withdraw at once. Do not engage. Seal his channel." But no order could break the thin thread between him and the ship. He could feel it now, a line that ran from his throat to the dark heart inside the metal shell. He drifted closer and said, "What do you want?" the voice said. "To remember, to warn, to return," he asked. "Return what?" The answer came like a cold wave. "Command." And behind the word he felt a picture, not with eyes, but like a dream, a sky with 3 suns. A city made of beams and strings, and tall figures with human hands, human faces, but eyes older than oceans. He flinched and blinked, and the picture broke. The VAR captain moved between him and the hull, her armor wide, her tail wrapped around a tether. "You will stop," she said. "This ship is a threat to all." The human raised his hands. "We do not know," he said. "We only know it hears me." The VAR captain bared sharp teeth. "And that is why it must be silent." A small device unfolded from her wrist. A cutter. The human's chest tightened. "Please," he said, "if you cut the hull, it might—" The voice in his head grew sharp and bright. "Not voice breaks," it warned, and a ring of light flowed from the seam, fast but gentle. It pushed the VAR captain away without harm and held her at a distance like a soft wall. She clawed at it and hissed, "Weapon!" The Trisk officer yelled, "Record! Record! This is active defense!" Panic moved through the crews like fire through dry grass. The human fought his own fear and said, "I do not want war." The vessel replied, "War came before. The not voices begged, the not voices lied. The caller leads, the vessel follows." He did not like the word leads. It felt heavy. He said carefully, "I cannot lead you. I am only one person," the voice said. "One is door, one is key, many is tide." The words were simple but strange. He tried another path. "Who built you?" he asked. The voice softened. "Mothers and fathers of storms." It said makers who walked the ash rivers and wrote their names in iron. He wondered if that meant humans. The thought scared him and comforted him at the same time. He took a slow breath. The stars shone like nails around them. The silent dark pressed close. "If I ask you to sleep, will you sleep?" he said. The ring of light dimmed a little. "The caller may ask," it answered. "The vessel will listen." The alien leaders argued in a chorus. "Tell it to sleep. Tell it to surrender. Duck. Tell it nothing." A small shuttle from a distant fleet edged forward with its weapons open. The human saw the glow and raised his voice. "Do not fire," he said on the general channel. "It only reacts when you threaten." The shuttle continued. Hungry with fear, the voice in his head cooled. "Not voice harms, vessel shields." Light built around the human like a clear shell. The shuttle's pilot swore and backed off, fear turning into anger. "Human," the Trisk said with shaking authority, "you will step away and cut your comms. If I cut the comms, it will still hear me," the human said. "I do not know how I know, but I know." He looked at the dark hull and at the faint shapes of the symbols. They looked almost like letters from old Earth stones. Not the same, but cousins from far grandparents. He felt a choice rise in him like a tide, to wake or to rest, to test or to retreat. He remembered the faces of his team, the pilot with the soft voice, the engineer who sent music over long nights. He could not bring war to them. He turned his mouth mic off the general channel and spoke only to the ship. "Sleep for now," he said. "Wait for a better time. Wait for a place where we can understand you. I promise I will return. I will bring people who listen with care." The voice was quiet for a long breath, as if it tasted the shape of the promise. "The caller binds with speech," it said. "Promise accepted." The ring of light softened and flowed back into the seam like water into sand. The symbols faded. The glow died. And the huge dark shape became only a mountain again, still and heavy and old. Alien crews whispered in awe and fear. No one laughed now. The Trisk officer spoke with forced calm. "What did you do?" the human answered in a thin voice. "I asked it to sleep, and it obeyed you," the VAR captain said. Not a question, her eyes held anger and something else, respect or dread. "It obeyed a human." The words floated in the fragile quiet. Then the human added softly, almost to himself, "It obeyed the promise." He turned away from the hull and drifted back toward his team, his hands shaking inside his gloves. He felt that thin thread still there, not broken, only relaxed, like a violin string after the song. The pilot's voice came through. "Are you okay?" "I am," he said, meaning and not meaning it, because a new weight sat in his chest, a light weight that felt like a crown made of air. He faced the stars again and spoke very softly where only he and the sleeping ship could hear. "I will come back." And in the deep silence, far inside the ancient vessel, a faint heartbeat answered once and fell quiet. And though many ships circled and many eyes watched, no one but the human heard that last small sound, and no one but the human understood what it meant. Not peace, not victory, but a door opening in the future, and a promise that now had a life of its own. The human sat alone in the quiet of his small cabin, the stars sliding past the window like frozen sparks. He kept replaying the moment in his head. The glow of the vessel, the strange words in his mind, the way it obeyed his request to sleep. The silence that followed felt heavier than noise. The comm buzzed, and the pilot's voice came through, soft but worried. "You still awake?" he answered. "Yes," his voice cracked more than he wanted. "Can't sleep." The pilot hesitated, then said, "Neither can anyone else. The aliens are restless. They think you hold the key to that ship." The human laughed without humor. "I don't hold anything. It holds me." In the command bay, the Trisk officer stood tall, eyes glowing with fear and anger. "We must cut ties with the human. If the vessel only responds to him, then he is the weapon. Remove him, and the threat dies." The VAR captain slammed her claw on the table. "You fool, destroy him and the vessel may awaken in fury." Voices rose, each alien speaking over the other. Panic made them blind. Fear made them cruel. One calm voice cut through, the human who had entered quietly. "You are all wrong," he said. They turned as one. The Trisk officer's mandibles clicked. "You dare walk into council uninvited." The human held his ground. "It isn't about me, it's about trust. The vessel is listening, always, even now." A heavy silence fell. The alien commanders glanced at each other. Uncertain. "Prove it," the VAR captain said. Her eyes narrow. He closed his eyes, whispered inside his mind, "Are you there?" The answer was immediate, a low thrum like a drum underwater. Words sliding into thought, the caller remembers. "The vessel waits." He opened his eyes. "It says it is waiting," the Trisk hissed. "Lies, tricks. It is only you pretending." The vessel chose that moment to make itself known. The entire station shuddered, lights dimmed, and across the black hull outside, symbols of light flared once more. Every machine screamed errors. The aliens stumbled, panic flaring. The human only whispered, "Why now?" And the voice answered, "Because danger comes." An alarm blared. Ships at the edge of the system reported incoming fleets. Dozens of signatures, armed, fast, ruthless. The alien commanders swore in their languages. "It is the core Dominion," someone cried. "They followed the signal. They know the vessel is here." The Trisk officer shook his head fast. "We cannot fight them. They will slaughter us." The VAR captain looked to the human with hate and need in her eyes. "Make your ship wake. Make it fight for us." The human felt his stomach twist. "No, if I wake it, it may never sleep again." "You don't understand what it is," the voice whispered again. "Not voices seek to steal. Vessel guards the caller. Vessel remembers war." The human whispered back, "I don't want war, not again." But the core ships drew closer, their weapons heating. The alien fleets prepared to scatter. "If we run, they take the vessel," the pilot said to him in a rush. "If we stay, they kill us all. Unless it protects us." The human's throat felt dry. "What if I lose control?" "What if you don't?" she whispered, her voice trembling but steady. The station shook as the first blasts hit shields. Sparks danced across panels. Alien crews shouted orders. The human stumbled, then heard the vessel louder, filling his head. "The caller commands, or the vessel chooses alone." He understood then, if he refused, it would act anyway. He had one chance to guide it. He closed his eyes. His voice steady, though his hands shook. "Protect us, only defend." "No more than that," the ship answered with a rising hum. The hull split open like a flower of metal and light. Beams of energy spread across the dark. The core fleet fired in fury. Their blasts vanished against the glowing shield. The vessel's counterstrike was a single pulse. Silent and blinding, the enemy ships froze in place. Systems dead, drifting like husks in water. The aliens gasped, some in terror, some in awe. The Trisk officer whispered, "It could erase us all with one breath." The VAR captain growled, "Yet it spared us." She looked at the human. "Because of him." The human felt the pressure in his skull ease. The voice dimming, "The vessel obeys the promise. The caller binds." He opened his eyes to see the battlefield silent, enemy ships floating powerless, not destroyed but broken. He breathed out slow. It listened, but the silence in the council was worse than battle. The aliens stared at him with new eyes. Not allies, not enemies, but something sharper, fear and need mixed. The pilot touched his arm gently. "They will never let you go now," she whispered. "You are too important," he nodded, his chest heavy. "Or too dangerous." The Trisk officer stepped forward, mandibles clacking. "From this moment you belong to us all. You will command the vessel for the Council. No one species can hold such power," the VAR captain sneered. "And if he refuses, the vessel will burn us all." "You know it," the human raised his hands. "Stop, I never asked for this, I never wanted this. I only tried to listen," the vessel whispered one last time. "The caller speaks truth, the many do not listen. Beware." He looked at their faces, their fear turned to hunger, their eyes sharp with greed. He understood the vessel was not their greatest danger, it was their own nature. He whispered to himself, "I promised it peace, but can I promise peace to them?" No answer came, only the cold silence of space, and the quiet hum of a ship that was never really asleep, waiting, always waiting, for his next word. The council chamber felt colder than space itself. The walls of glass and steel caught the glow of the ancient vessel drifting outside. Silent again, but no longer forgotten. Every alien eye fixed on the human, some with fear, others with hunger. He shifted under their gaze, feeling like a prisoner instead of a guest. "You must understand," he said, his voice steady though his chest was tight. "The vessel is not a tool. It is not a weapon you can point at your enemies. It listens, it chooses, and it is dangerous if misused," the Trisk officer snapped, mandibles clattering. "Then you will make it obey. You are the key, and keys are meant to open locks." The VAR captain leaned forward, her scales glinting, "or to be broken if they resist." The human's pilot, standing in the shadows, clenched her fists. "Enough! He is not your slave," she said. But the chamber only grew darker with silence. The alien leaders stared at her as if she had spoken something foolish. Unwhispered, "He holds the voice of gods. He cannot walk free." The human turned to them, his heart pounding. "Do you hear yourselves? You are afraid of the ship, yet you want to own it. Do you think it will respect your greed?" The lights flickered. A low vibration ran through the floor. All eyes shot toward the vessel outside. Symbols of light rippled across its hull, pulsing like a heartbeat. The human's voice dropped. "It hears us! It reacts to your fear," the VAR captain snarled. "Then silence it, speak to it now, make it rest." The human closed his eyes, felt the thrum inside his mind collar. "Danger grows within, not without," the voice warned. He whispered back. "What do you mean?" The reply chilled him. "The many plot, the many divide. The vessel defends the promise." His stomach turned. He opened his eyes and saw the truth written in the alien faces. They were not united. They were planning, each side ready to claim him, or kill him that night alone in his cabin. The pilot entered quietly, her face pale. "They are meeting without you," she whispered. "Some want to chain you. Others want to end you. None of them trust what you carry." He rubbed his hands over his eyes. "I knew this would happen." She grabbed his arm. "You must decide. Do you trust the vessel? Or do you fear it?" He swallowed. "I don't know. I fear them more than it," her grip tightened. "Then use it. Before they use you." Alarms cut through their words. Red light flared in the corridors. The vessel had awakened without command. Energy flowed from its seams. Bright enough to blind Sensor's crew shouted in terror. "It is arming itself," someone cried. "Shields rising, weapons charging." Panic spread like fire. The human rushed to the viewport, pressing his hands to the glass. "No, stop," he shouted. "You must listen to me." The voice came sharp in his mind. "The caller is threatened. The vessel protects." He gasped. "Not like this. They are not enemies. They are afraid." The vessel's hum slowed, wavering, unsure. But in the council chamber, chaos erupted. The Trisk officer demanded, "He has lost control. We must strike before it destroys us." Ships turned their weapons toward the vessel, energy coils glowing. The human felt his chest tighten. He yelled into the comms, "Stand down if you fire. It will kill us all." No one listened. Fear had already taken root. The VAR captain snarled into her mic. "One shot may not destroy it, but 1,000 will." The human turned inward. Desperate. "Please," he whispered to the vessel. "I beg you, if you trust me, if my promise means anything, do not kill them." The voice pulsed deep. The caller commands. The vessel waits, light dimmed. The weapon port sealed, the shield softened outside. The vessel folded back into silence. The alien fleets hesitated, confused, afraid to fire. But the quiet that followed was sharper than blades. The Trisk officer glared at the human. "You have power over all of us, and you expect us to bow to your mercy. No, human, you are too dangerous." The VAR captain stepped forward with claws bared. "Kill him now, and the vessel will sleep forever." The pilot raised her weapon and blocked them. "No one touches him." Her voice shook. But her hand did not. The vessel whispered again in his mind. "The promise is tested. The choice is near." He realized then that every moment was a test, not of the ship, but of himself. His words bound it, but his heart guided it. And if he chose wrong, the galaxy would burn. He raised his voice, strong enough to fill the chamber. "Listen to me, all of you. If you kill me, the vessel will not forgive. If you chain me, it will not serve. If you follow me, I cannot promise victory, but I can promise balance. It will obey peace if we give it peace." For a long moment, no one moved. The alien commanders glared, weighed his words against their fear. Then the lights dimmed again. The vessel sent one last symbol into the void, a circle with a single line through it, glowing like fire across its hull. The Trisk officer shuddered. "What does it mean?" The human felt the word in his mind. "Unity," he said softly. "It means unity." The council broke into whispers. Some doubtful, some hopeful, but none dared move against him again. He walked out of the chamber with the pilot at his side, his hands still shaking, his heart still heavy. The vessel silent behind him, but watching. "Always watching," he whispered under his breath. "I don't know if I saved us or only delayed the storm." In the quiet, the vessel answered with a single word, "Both." And the human knew the story was only beginning. The human woke to a low hum that seemed to run through the walls of his cabin. At first he thought it was a dream, but then he saw the faint glow under the door, soft lines of light crawling across the floor like veins. He rushed out and found others already staring through the long windows. The ancient vessel outside was glowing brighter than ever, its hull covered in shifting symbols, each symbol burning like fire across black metal. Voices filled the comms, alien commanders shouting over one another. "It is waking on its own. Control it. End it before it chooses." The human pressed his hand against the glass. "Why now?" he whispered, and the voice answered inside his skull. "The vessel remembers. The vessel must show the caller truth." He felt his knees weaken. The pilot caught his arm, her face pale in the glow. "It's calling you again," she said. "I can feel it," he nodded. "It won't stop until I answer." The VAR captain stormed into the corridor with a squad of guards, claws flexing. "You are coming with us, human," she growled. "We will not let you whisper to it in secret. Your words bind it, and we must hear everyone." The human stood tall. "It doesn't obey you, it obeys me, because it trusts me, not you." Her eyes narrowed. "Then prove your loyalty. Make it sleep again." He closed his eyes, spoke in thought. "Can you rest?" The vessel's voice swelled like a storm. "No, the time of sleep is gone." The time of memory begins before he could respond. A beam of light extended from the ship, striking the station with no force. Just brightness, a tunnel of pure energy. Doors across the station slid open, pulling at him. Every system flickered. Alarms screamed. "It is pulling him inside," someone shouted. The pilot grabbed his hand. "Don't go!" He squeezed back. "If I don't, it will tear this place apart. I have to." Before she could stop him, the light wrapped around his body, weightless, soundless, and carried him across the void. When he opened his eyes, he stood inside the vessel. Vast halls of black stone and silver wires, stretching endlessly. The air thick with echoes, shadows moving like smoke. He called out, "Where am I?" The answer came not from one voice, but from many layered together. "You walk inside memory, caller. You must see what was hidden, walls lit up. showing scenes like living windows. He saw towering figures with human faces, but eyes that glowed like suns. Commanding fleets of fire, he saw worlds burning, alien empires falling before their power. And at the center of it all, the vessel itself. Young and fierce, a weapon of gods, he stumbled back. No, this can't be. The voice pressed closer. This was the past. This was your makers. The vessel belongs to their blood. He shook his head. But humanity is nothing like that. We are fragile, divided. We don't command gods. The reply struck cold. You are their echo, their return. You carry their right. His heart pounded. If what you show me is true, then they destroyed everything. Why would I continue their path? The vision shifted. Showing cities rebuilt, broken species gathered under banners of unity. Humans standing among them, guiding not with fire, but with words. The vessel whispered. The makers burned. But they healed, they ruled, but they freed. The vessel obeys the shape the caller chooses. His hands trembled. Then I can choose peace. The answer came soft. If you hold peace in your heart, the vessel will follow. But if fear rules, war returns. Before he could respond, an explosion rattled the hall. Alarms blared in the distance. He felt heat in the air. What was that? He shouted. The vessel's voice turned sharp. Intruders! The walls opened to show real-time images. Alien strike teams had forced entry, their weapons sparking. It was the Trisk and Var together. Their leaders had sent troops to capture the vessel while he was inside. The pilot's voice cut through his calm, panicked. They're breaching. They're coming for you, he gritted his teeth. I told them not to. I told them it would end badly. The voice inside him pulsed like thunder. Command me, caller, destroy them. His chest tightened. No, not destroy. There must be another way. The strike teams advanced through the corridors. Their armor glowing with energy, blasters raised. The human ran through the vessel's hall, shouting, Stop, you don't understand. If you attack it will defend itself and you will die. The aliens did not listen. The first shots fired, searing bolts slamming into the walls. The vessel reacted instantly, floors splitting open, bright tendrils of light wrapping around the intruders. Their weapons melted, their bodies frozen in midair. Screams filled the chamber. The human yelled, Release them! Now the vessel paused. They threatened the promise. Release them, he said louder. I promised peace, not slaughter. Silence stretched. Then slowly the tendrils pulled back. The aliens collapsed to the ground alive but shaken. The Var captain's voice thundered in his comm. Furious. You could have ended them. Why did you stop? He answered. Because if I use it to kill, then I prove you right. That I am only a weapon, she snarled. You are weak, human. One day weakness will kill us all. He stared at the glowing halls, at the trembling intruders on the floor. Maybe, he said quietly, or maybe weakness is what saves us. The vessel's hum softened. Almost like approval, the caller chooses, the vessel follows. He breathed deep, fear still heavy in his chest. He knew this was only the beginning. Outside, fleets still circled, greedy eyes still watched. And the truth of humanity's past lay heavy on his shoulders as he walked back toward the beam of light. Ready to return, he whispered, If I fall, promise me you won't become their weapon. The vessel answered with a slow, echoing word, promise, and in that single word he felt both comfort and terror. For promises had power, and promises were never truly safe. The station trembled with fear as the human returned from the vessel's core. His boots heavy on the metal floor, his eyes distant, carrying the glow of what he had seen inside. The pilot rushed to him, grabbing his arm. What happened in there? She whispered. You look like you've seen ghosts. He shook his head, voice low. Not ghosts. History. And it was worse than I imagined. He barely had time to breathe before the alarms screamed again. The alien fleets outside had shifted into attack formation. Their weapons pointed not only at the vessel, but at each other. The Council's fragile unity had shattered, greed and fear pushing them to claim the ship by force. The Trisk officer's voice rang through the comms, sharp and commanding. By order of my people, the vessel is now ours. Stand down or be destroyed. The Var captain barked back. Lies. We claim it for protection. No insect will rule this weapon. Ships bristled with energy. Ready to fire, the human slammed his hand on the console. Stop this madness. If you fire on each other, the vessel will not sit quiet. No one listened. The pilot whispered beside him, "They'll tear themselves apart." And us with them. Suddenly the vessel itself moved, slow and deliberate, its massive frame turning toward the fleets. Lights along its surface burning like 1,000 suns. The voice filled the human's mind. The many break. The promise trembles. "The vessel must act," he shouted back inside his skull. "No, wait, let me speak first. Give me a chance." The hum lowered but did not fade. The ship waited, watching through his eyes. He opened the comms wide. Every fleet, every commander hearing his words. "Listen to me. I know you all want control. I know you fear what this ship is, but if you fight, it will defend itself. And none of you will survive," the Trisk officer sneered. "You speak like a ruler already, human." "As if the vessel is your throne," the VAR captain hissed. "Kill him now, and the vessel will have no voice." In that moment, several ships broke from formation, charging weapons toward the human station. The pilot gasped. "They're going to fire on us?" Before she could finish, the vessel's shield flared to life, wrapping the station in blinding light. Enemy blasts struck and vanished like pebbles into a river. The human's heart pounded. "I told you, it protects me, not you." The fleets froze in terror, uncertain whether to fire again or retreat. Then the vessel went further. Symbols surged across its hull, forming a massive image that stretched into the void. It looked like a hand, open and waiting. The human's voice trembled. "It's telling me something." He closed his eyes. The voice pressed deeper. "One hand holds peace, one hand holds war. The caller decides," he whispered. "It wants me to choose." The pilot's eyes widened. "Then choose peace before they force your hand." But the fleets didn't wait. One desperate core warship, eager for glory, launched a missile swarm straight at the vessel, hundreds of warheads burning through the dark. The human screamed, "No, stop!" But the vessel did not hesitate. Beams of white fire lashed out, every missile shattered in silence. And then the warship itself froze, its engines dead, drifting powerless. Not destroyed, but stripped of will. Gasps echoed through the comms. The Trisk officer whispered. With a glance it crippled them. What would it do if angered? The human raised his voice, filled with both rage and fear. "You see now, it doesn't want war. It could have killed them, but it didn't. It is showing mercy. But mercy won't last forever if you keep pushing." Silence hung heavy, broken only by the pilot's soft voice. "They don't want to hear you. They only want what you carry." The council chamber erupted again, demands and threats colliding. Hand him over, bind him to the council, erase him before the vessel grows stronger. He felt his chest tighten, the vessel whispering at the edge of his thoughts. The many will not listen. The caller must lead or be broken. He turned to the pilot, his voice raw. "They'll never stop. No matter what I say." She touched his shoulder, her eyes steady. "Then maybe you shouldn't speak to them. Maybe you should speak only to it." He looked back at the vessel glowing outside, a living mountain of light, and whispered, "If I lead for peace. Not for power." The vessel's hum rose in his mind, warm and terrible. The promise is heard. The vessel follows the heart. Suddenly the fleets outside faltered. Ships drifting back, their weapons cooling. Not by choice, but by force. Their systems bending to the vessel's will. Every commander shouted in shock, "Our controls are locked!" Engines offline, weapons disabled. The human's voice filled the channel, calm but heavy. "It is not me who binds you. It is your own fear, and the vessel knows it." The pilot looked at him with awe and dread. "They'll hate you for this, even if you save them," he nodded, his eyes on the endless glow. "I know." And deep inside, the vessel whispered one more truth. Hate binds stronger than fear. Beware the many, caller. The storm has only begun. His hands shook as he lowered the comm, knowing that even though the battle had ended without blood, the war for control had just begun. And he was now at the center of it, a key no one could afford to lose. and no one could truly trust. The human stood at the edge of the council chamber, his body tense, his thoughts heavy. The ancient vessel glowed silently outside the station like a sleeping giant, its light pulsing slow as if it breathed. But everyone knew it was awake, waiting for his next word. The alien leaders circled him with eyes sharp as blades. The Trisk officer hissed, "You have tied our fleets like cattle. You speak of peace, but wield chains. You're no better than a conqueror." The VAR captain slammed her claw against the table, sparks leaping. "He should be executed now, before the vessel binds us forever." The human raised his voice, steady but strained. "I did not bind your fleets, the vessel did. Because you refused to listen. I begged it for mercy, and it listened. But you only see power, not the warning it carries." The pilot stood behind him, her hand near her weapon, her voice soft but fierce. "He saved you, all of you, and still you threaten him. Do you even hear yourselves?" The council fell into bitter argument, voices clashing like storms, demands to control him, to chain him, to strip the vessel bare in the middle of it. The vessel's hum grew louder, filling the chamber through the walls, a vibration in their bones. The human felt the words pressing into his mind. The many break again, the promise weakens. "The vessel must decide," he whispered back. "No, let me decide. Give me time." The hum eased but did not vanish. Lights flickered across the chamber. The alien commanders froze. One by one their devices failed. Screens went black, weapons dropped dead. The Trisk officer shouted, "It is taking our systems again. Do something." "Human," he clenched his fists. "I can't order it like a machine. It listens to trust, to intent, and not commands." The VAR captain's eyes narrowed. "Then maybe it listens only to your death." She lunged forward, claws flashing. But before she could reach him, the pilot fired her sidearm, the shot striking the ground between them. The VAR stopped, her eyes burning with fury. "Protect him and you doom us all." The pilot did not flinch. "Maybe protecting him is the only thing keeping you alive." A new alarm wailed through the chamber, sharp and urgent. Ships at the edge of the system reported a second fleet arriving, not allies, but scavengers and warlords drawn by the vessel's awakening. Hundreds of signatures filled the scanners. The human's chest tightened. "It's worse than I feared. The whole galaxy is coming for it." The council panicked. "We cannot fight them. They will tear us apart. We must unleash the vessel fully." The human shook his head. "No, if I do that, it will become what you want, a weapon. And then there is no turning back." The vessel's voice pressed harder. "The storm rises, caller. The vessel must awaken or all will fall." His voice trembled. "There must be another way. Defend without destroying, shield without slaughter." Silence hung in his mind. Then the answer came. "If the caller wills mercy, mercy shall be shaped, but mercy breaks the vessel's core. Once broken, no return." He swallowed hard, the choice heavy. "If I choose mercy, it might weaken forever," the pilot whispered. "Maybe weakness is the only strength we have left." Outside, the scavenger fleet advanced. Weapons blazing, the alien forces scrambled. Their unity shattered. Some ships fled, others fired blindly. Explosions lit the dark. The vessel stirred, panels shifting open. Endless light ready to burst. The humans screamed into the comm. "All of you stop fighting and fall back." Now, most ignored him, too lost in fear. He closed his eyes, heart pounding. "Then listen to me," he whispered to the vessel. "Raise your shield, protect them all, every ship, even those who hate me." The vessel obeyed. A dome of brilliant energy spread across the system, swallowing the fleets inside. Enemy fire struck and dissolved into nothing. Scavenger ships rammed and shattered, their weapons useless, but true to his words. Not one was destroyed, only pushed back, disabled. Left drifting in silence, gasps echoed across comms. The Trisk officer whispered, "It spared even them." The VAR captain spat in disbelief. "Why, they are enemies." The human's voice shook. "Because if I make it kill for me, then I'm no better than the ones who built it." But mercy had cost a price. The vessel's light dimmed, its hum weaker. Cracks of shadow running across its hull, like fractures in glass. The pilot looked at him in fear. "You hurt it, didn't you?" He nodded slowly. "I asked it to do something against its own design, and it obeyed. But it paid for it." The council stared at him in silence, not sure whether to see him as savior or fool. The vessel whispered faintly, almost fading, "The promise holds. The vessel weakens. The caller must carry more." He whispered back, "I'll carry it. I'll carry as much as you need. Just don't fall." The voice grew softer. "The vessel rests, but the storm returns, always returns." And then the hum faded into silence. The ship outside dimmed, no longer blazing, only a shadow against the stars. The council broke into chaos again, but this time their fear was not only of the vessel, it was of him, the man who made a god obey mercy, the man who might have weakened the greatest weapon the galaxy had ever seen. The pilot touched his arm gently. "You did the right thing." He looked at the dark vessel outside and whispered, "Maybe, but the right thing may be the very thing that gets us all killed." And though the ship rested silent, he felt its faint heartbeat still inside him, fragile but alive, waiting for the storm that was sure to come.